What's up, Ordinary Movement? Hey, it's Jeremy McComas here with Alex Rossi. Hey, this is just a quick recap of um, 2024, all the things we've accomplished, and there's been a lot of change. Super exciting what God is doing, and man, I just thought it would be great to go over this with the community, so you guys could see all the things we're working on. Sometimes it's easy to assume that people know what we're doing, when in fact I think many people don't. So. I have Alex here. He's our operations officer. Sorry, Alex, I almost forgot your title for a second.
Director of Operations.
I almost called you
COO.
CEO. It's so funny. I called you I was going to call you CEO. Maybe you should.
You're the CEO. You're the guy.
Know. Maybe it's time to make a change. But
not
Alex
change.
is our operations officer. And man, thank God for him. We wouldn't have been able to do any of this, or not a lot of it, without him. I can tell you that. So, Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're just going to move through this pretty quick, just for everyone's time. But let's start with some of the projects that we've completed, and then that'll kind of go into how that's created some change for us. So I'll turn it over to you, and maybe you can hit some of those. I may chime in here a little bit.
All right, I'm going to run through them, and then you correct me what I missed. So we updated the whole new website. So Ordinary Movement went from a men's website straight into the website for Ordinary Movement. We even came up with the what is it like from ordinary men and ordinary women to the ordinary. We were all over the place with names, and we felt like movement was the direction. Branding. So in order to make a new website, we needed to figure out what is the look, what is the feel. We got that dialed in. The books. Let's see, we updated the books with branding, and we added in a whole new series of edits. Mm-hmm. Not only that, we hired our friend Kristen, and she spent like months. She was doing it while she's also working at her job, but she went through every single page. And these books now, nice. And fully edited. Not only that, but our very own in-house author rewrote, I think, was it not one, but 2 sessions? Is that right, Jeremy?
Who was that? Who's the author?
The man's name is on the book, Jeremy McCommons. So
name is on that book.
We'd be done with the book edits months earlier, and all of a sudden Jeremy's like, Alex, I've just been praying, I've been thinking about it, and I feel like we can do a better job on intentional relationships.
So then I rewrote it, and then intimacy. But those are core values, man. We had to get those. We had to knock those out of the park, especially that intimacy piece. Like that is most important.
Yeah. So, now no one needs to buy a new participant guide. And by the way, we've been talking, we're probably bringing back, I say probably, and it's up to Jeremy. We're bringing back the leader guide from what I recall.
It's 100% happening. 100%.
So if you have a group launching and they're all buying the new workbooks, you may want a new workbook for that reason, just so they mirror well, but that's the big thing there. Yeah. Leader guides though, 2025, it's coming. The app. So we did a ton of research, and we even looked at building an app for your phone that would be custom. Oh, there's my family. I'll have to blur that. Blur that. We don't put our kids on social media.
Oh, we don't? Why?
No. I don't know. AI, we're just out, like in 20 years, who knows? All right. Tangent. So anyway,
you got it, Alex.
We looked into, we had quotes. We were like, somebody quoted us 150,000 just to make the web app on the browser, not including the mobile app. And this is the group that made it for Practicing the Way. And Alpha, and so maybe it was 180,000.
Apparently, Alpha and Practicing the Way have a much greater budget than us.
Hey, we're working on grants, so maybe we'll have that budget. But in the meantime, until we get the grants, community, we're making the invite here shortly. So, and so we ended up finding though Dwayne with Impact. He was building this app, and he was on the board for a mentoring discipleship community that you're aware of, Jeremy. And it was really well designed, had the attributes of kind of the course, the community, and also some of the planning center groups tools, which really help leaders engage with their participants. And we built all that out. What does that mean? Well, there's the branding, there's the content, there's the writing, there was script writing. We recorded and edited over 30 videos, and had all sorts of issues along the way that we certainly corrected. One of which was Jeremy loved. He came to Virginia. We did the videos in our studio, which we made for the entire 30 plus videos for our participant leader trainings. And we had one audio issue for a major portion of it. And I believe you paid out of your pocket and flew back from Colorado to Virginia, losing family time to re-record just a couple sessions.
It's part of it. I can't say I was joyful about it, but it's part of it. What are you going to do?
You once you got here, you know, I will never forget the one restaurant that you wanted to go to when you arrived in Fredericksburg. Not foodie. Where, Jeremy, did you want to go when I first met you in Fredericksburg with Chad?
Tava?
And no,
Where was it?
Was it Logan's Steakhouse?
Oh yeah, that was my old school joint, man. That's where I used to go all the time when I was here doing business, man. Because you can get your grilled chicken, and then you can get your sweet potato and a salad, man. It's healthy.
So Jeremy's drive to memory lane for food in Fredericksburg was Logan's Steakhouse.
Come on, guys, go there. It's good.
It was really good. But
all right, come on, keep going.
All right, so then we got the training videos. We started online visibility. Now we've done the podcast for years even before I arrived, but we've never done anything with ads. And the reason that's significant is because there's a whole entire nation of people who don't know we exist and that we found out are looking for discipleship resources. More on that coming soon in this video. Yep. Mm-hmm. But we opened that up, and man, it has been wild to see how many people are looking for a disciple making platform like what we provide. And updated systems for all the growth, our automations, our emails, personal touches, all of that.
We rewrote all the drips too.
Yes, we totally, okay. For our, I would say OG leaders and participants, you guys may recall, we used to send out an email that tried to sync for the session you were in that group every week. Well, that became extremely burdensome because you'd be in session 5 and then people would get sick with COVID, and then, you'd go back and we'd be off course, and then you would have to fix it, and then something would break. No more. Yeah. All right. What did I miss? Anything else, or we'll jump into the biggest change?
Yeah, I think that's good. I would just say, just to recap what you said. So imagine this. Imagine creating a website. Well, first, creating branding for a business, creating a website, creating books and materials for that business or nonprofit, starting an app, creating training, creating videos for that training, starting to pay for online visibility, and writing all drip marketing campaign emails and uploading them into your CRM. I think what you said, Alex, is we created a new business this year. I mean, that's daunting if you think about it.
Yeah, we totally rebuilt the entire platform that we provide. And if you mean by business, if for anyone listening, Jeremy's a business guy. He makes no salary or gets paid. So for you to call this a business is because you put in almost full-time hours working on this. But just for anyone listening, know that Jeremy volunteers all his time. I think that's important.
Yeah, it's not a business. I said business in case somebody was listening had a business mindset. You'd be like, yeah, man, that's a lot of work. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to give our team the credits due. The amount of work that Alex and the team put into making this happen is absolutely incredible.
Emily and Jeremy, Kelly, I don't know how many emails. Yeah, Kelly, Aaron, Kristen,
even in that, 50% of them are volunteers. So it's just amazing what we were able to do with the resources we have. So that brings us to the biggest change. The biggest change is we changed a method, not our mission, not our vision, not our mission or vision. That is the same. We are making disciples and make disciples, and we are pointing people to Jesus through that. And we want to grow across this country and doing it and change culture around discipleship in the church community. So none of that has changed, but the method that we were employing has changed. And that's why all of these projects came into play, is because what we had before was a participate to lead model, meaning if you wanted to lead a group, you had to participate in a group. So then the only way that you could really grow this organization was if somebody invited you into a group, and then from that invitation, you went through the group, and then you have the opportunity to lead outside of that group, right? That's what God put on my heart. I know why. It was to protect mission and vision, and more or less, more than anything, the culture, because culture can be lost in a very quick time. And so we had to protect that. I felt like the Lord gave us more leeway once we had a good foundation of culture under us, and which we do, and we've established that culture within our ranks and within the community. And then I really felt like him giving permission for us to go to more of a raise your hand to lead model. And what I mean by that, these are just our terms. But that means anyone that has an interest in leading an ordinary movements group because they are discipleship minded and they need a tool or a platform to do so, we want to give them that resource. So that changed everything that we do. that allowed us to go from simply creating community online to now we can market to people that want what we have online. We couldn't do that before because it was you had to be in a group to lead a group. So if you found us before and wanted to lead a group, it was like, hopefully we can get you in a group sometime so that you can lead a group. So the same goes for church model. If a pastor wanted to use our resources and make it part of their discipleship process within their church, it was very hard to do because the only way that you could get people in a group is to get somebody that had led before. I mean, imagine that if you're in a group, if you're in a state like Wisconsin, Michigan that has never had a OM group before, and you want to start it in your church. Well, how are you going to get it started? It was a very, very difficult thing.
It's 12 to 18 months out from when you actually found us, practically speaking, oftentimes. Yeah, that's
right. So it made growth hard. It doesn't mean that that's not what God had for us, but he allowed us to make that change. I felt very clearly. I talked to the board about that the whole nine yards. So that is our big change. It was a method change. And in doing so, we have seen unbelievable growth. And I believe in 25, we're going to see even more unbelievable growth. In fact, Alex, as I was preparing for this podcast, like right before we got on, I just checked my email real fast. And we had another app sign up. It's like Constant. And that person was from Memphis. And so it was like, we're talking, we're now we have app signups in 40 different states. We're talking about little ordinary movement. Like this is crazy. This started as one group online of guys. Like it's amazing what God has done in 4 or 5 years. And just with this change, we have seen more, groups start in the last 2.5 months than we had, or 2 months than we had in the previous 18 months. I mean, think about that. 1.5 years of growth was achieved in 2 months with this change. And with this change, I mean, we're just ramping it up. I think it's going to, I think, accelerate, not slow down. And so we are super excited about what 2025 has in store. I mean, we're super excited about what 2024 and what we've accomplished and what God has done. But now we enter this phase of growth. So do you have any growth stats you'd like to share, Alex, as we kind of wrap this thing up?
Yeah, you probably will be getting emails from us. You'll get a letter possibly from us. To be clear, with the letter, if you're listening and you don't get one, we tried to send everyone a letter who's been with us, but we tried to not send letters or do direct invites for giving to those who are actively participating in groups, being leading or participants. That's just a cultural value that we have. Sometimes the name may slip through when we try to sort everybody out. But that being said, if you're listening to the video and you're like, I didn't get it, well, we may have intentionally not sent it to you because we just want you to be able to focus on what God is doing during the season in your group. But all that to say, let's run some numbers real quick. Lifetime stats, let's do that. Over 114 groups, and every month we have more groups coming and groups launching in 2025. They're not included in that. 113 leaders and co-leaders, over 597 participants in our lifetime. And we only began late 2019 with group 1 inception. So that's a big deal because we're only in 2024 right now.
Especially when you keep in mind that group 1 could only grow. So all this is interesting. Sorry, I know we want to keep this short, but this is very interesting.
Yeah.
We had a group of 9 guys. I was one of them. So we'll say 8, right, that could multiply out. So if that one group had not multiplied, we're done. Because it doesn't grow because I lead 100 groups or Alex leads 100 groups. It grows because of grassroots multiplication. Ordinary people saying, I want to disciple other people in my life. Praise God that those people decided to lead groups, those men, and you know who you are. I could name you by name. You guys are dear to my heart. But that's the only way that we could grow for until this year. So for the first 5.5 of 6 years or 4.5 of 5 years, I don't know. It's hard to know exactly the date, and that's a long story. But so the only time that we've only had 3 or 4 months of the ability to really accelerate growth. Yep. And we've still, even doing that, we're seeing the numbers that we see, which is amazing. So anyhow, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that in mind, we've had a few hundred people join us in discipleship resources with the app and the training. Of those few hundred, 137 people roughly have said that they have interest in leading a group. And to your point, the multiplier value in attribute is still part of everything that we do. And so of those people who found us that are looking for something like what we provide, they can multiply, and we believe they will. So we're just
Oh yeah, that's where
yeah.
it's really hard to even track numbers and try to figure out what 25 looks like. Because if you think about, we had more groups in 2 months sign up than 18 months. Well, all of those groups that signed up will also, let's say they all have easy numbers, right? Let's how many groups was it? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't
Let's
remember
just say
offhand.
let's just say
A high
it's
percentage were brand new. They just found us online, and a smaller percentage were ones that had multiplied just within recently. Yeah.
yeah. So just make it. Let's say it's 10 groups, and there's 10 people in each group. That's 100 people. So at the end of the year, you have 100 people that are going to be asked to multiply out an organic way, in an organic, the grassroots, normal, like, hey, lead a group. We're in a group, plus
Yep.
all the people that are going to be signing up. So it's hard to say we're not just going to be growing in this raise your hand model. We're going to be growing in the organic model too. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what 25 holds for us. And boy, it's going to be exciting. Hold on tight.
Yeah. So on that note, we're not settled with just a few hundred. Anyone like we're working on a documentary. You guys, please show me grace. I'm trying to spearhead it with Wes, but diving into the topic of the state of the church and discipleship. And one of the findings was only 5% of all churches have an intentional discipleship pathway as a part of their model and disciple making, meaning that a lot of churches are simply doing Sunday after Sunday a service, but there's not a lot of intentionality in helping people go from church goer to disciple maker. And so the void in discipleship is massive across the United States. And one of the things that we found as we turned on visibility was that there was a high demand of people looking for discipleship resources, more than just a resource, but looking for a way to actually engage in them being a disciple maker, but they didn't know how. And so I think that sets us up really then for like 2025. Back to, did you hand off to me, or do you want to run with that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of wrap it here, unless you have something to say before I kind of wrap up. I was just going to kind of talk about surveys
okay.
and yeah.
All right. So here's the deal. We do not want to be a fundraising organization. Anyone who's been around long enough has heard Jeremy say that. Really what we're looking for is we are praying and believing that God is putting it on people's hearts, a burden for the state of the church, for intentional disciple making as a value. And we're seeing pastors sign up regularly. I would say offhand by emails and names that come up every 2 weeks. We see a pastor sign up, and they're trying to figure out how they incorporate it in their church. All this being said is we have a large, you'll see included in the email, like we have a large financial goal. We need to raise a few $100,000 is our goal so that we can actually 9X our reach this upcoming year in 2025. We have an amazing team of monthly partners. We have a few people that give massive gifts, and we recognize for us to be a mature, sustainable, healthy organization, not only do we need those large donors and our team of monthly partners, but we really need to increase our partner database. We need more people that have the same heart, the same vision, the same stirring, that feel led to give one-time gifts and to give monthly. And so we do want to invite you to pray and consider how you can join us and how God's leading you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is that's one of the challenges in my mind moving forward. Is, man, I'm so excited. I'm sure you heard my voice how excited I am about 25 and what God is doing. But then there's the reality of like, oh, now we've got to steward this well. We've got to keep up with this growth, and that could be more people to manage systems and processes, and it could be more investment into many different areas, right? And so it is important that this organization is not funded by just a few individuals on a large level, but it's funded by many people, so that we're healthy. And so that is the desire, right? And so, but yeah, the vision, just to kind of wrap up, all this stuff, this vision, the mission, all the growth and all the things we've done and the growth stats, I just want to say are really cool and really important. But the most important thing to me is, are we seeing life change? Because to be honest with you guys, if we're seeing hundreds of groups and we're not seeing life change, then probably count me out. Like, I'm not going to give my life to something that I don't feel like is moving the needle in the kingdom or in pointing people to Jesus. I can do a lot of things outside of this. This to me, it must have a life-changing component to it. And that is the most important part of it for me. And I'll just say that 93.5% of our surveys from participants and leaders show an increased growth and intimacy with Jesus. And so that's a hard thing to track. It's hard to track are people growing intimacy with Jesus. We do that through surveys. So I beg of you, if you see a survey come through, please fill out surveys for us. It's so helpful for us to know what is happening. If you haven't seen increase in intimacy, we want to know that too, right? But we need that feedback. It's the only way that we can measure the most important thing, which is, are people becoming closer to Jesus in intimacy? Are people growing an intense relationship with others? And are people becoming more disciple-minded and changing culture in their lives around discipleship and taking action around it? If we are doing those things, then having 10 groups a year is great. However, if we had 1,000 groups a year and those things aren't happening, then we're failing, right? So that's the most important thing to us. And the good news is we are seeing that. If you can say, round up 94% of all participants are seeing growth and intimacy with Jesus, that's great. And so I just want to celebrate that. We get tons of testimonies. You'll see them in the mailer as well. You can see them online. We see testimonies from people that are leading groups and how it's changed their lives, people that are participating in groups, how it's changed their lives, people taking action in their faith. And then we're also seeing just feedback from people signing up on our app. We asked them what drew them to us. And over again, we're hearing, we've been searching for this material. We couldn't find it. You guys have the best resources for discipleship and a practical step in doing it. We've had pastors say that in 30 years of ministry, the pastor said in 30 years of ministry, he has not found a discipleship curriculum or process as good as this one. We're hearing this over and over again. It's very confirming to us that what God has called us to create is solving a problem, is filling a void. And more than anything, my passion, and I'll just make it about me, I just feel like my life's purpose is to point people to Jesus, and to, like, if what we can do in ordinary movement is to continually point people to Jesus, and we see life change because people grow intimacy with him, and then we can add this discipleship component to it. I'm just really excited to see, as we continue to grow, what type of an influence this can have on society, on families, on marriages, on relationships with kids, on abortion rates, on orphan rates, on alcoholism, on drug abuse. Like, I just feel like that what we are doing has such a great impact. And I'm just really honored and blessed to be able to do it. And Alex, thank you so much for being part of it with me. And I just want to thank everybody listening. Like, if you're listening, it's probably because you're part of us. You're part of the tribe. Yeah. You've led, you participate, or you're thinking about it. And so thank you. And stay with us and join us at even greater capacity. We appreciate you so much. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. See you guys. Let's do this. Almost forgot. Let's do this.
I was going to yell it.